Lighting. Oh, that's nice. Fix my chat. So I finally broke and got a new phone. And I'm definitely seeing a difference in her camera. That's for sure. I'm actually going to flip that so that I can actually get hold of it. So let's see. Let's find one we haven't done that actually catches my attention. There's a lot of good ones. It does seem like it's going to show the colors in general, a whole lot better, which makes me happy. I don't know that I'm ready to tackle that one yet. I'm fighting just a hint of a headache because my birds have been in a whole mood today. But there was one back here. There it is. I think this guy might be a really good test. I love the kind of almost tribal thing going on. We can have some fun with it. All right. And I think, since it's the first thing I picked up, we're going to start with the red that my brain says this part needs to be. I don't know why it's so soft. Yes, I should probably sharpen just a bit. See if that does a little better. This thing definitely shows detail quite a bit more. And we should be done with the weird... Hello, how we doing today? Hopefully this will cut out the weird occasional electronic sounds that my broken phone kept making. I don't watch my own videos, but I will scan through them occasionally just to make sure they're not too glitchy. And because I am aware that sometimes broken phones create interesting oopses. But this definitely is making a difference so far. Crazy thing is because I've been with my phone company for so long, every year I get a phone for nearly free or free occasionally. This one I paid $1 for, which is why I hadn't replaced my phone. I was waiting for that year to be up. Sometimes a little patience is worth the wait, worth it, right? Hello, how we doing today? Thought this would be an interesting one to do today. Don't know how long it's going to take us, but we're going to have some fun with it. I am going to have to figure out how to make it not quite so zoomed in. But at the same time, I don't know. I think I might kind of like that. It does make it seem like it's a lot easier to actually see what I'm doing. And this is one of those pictures where you're going to have to kind of trust the process and go with it. Because I'm not 100% certain that this one is not an AI. Which means there's going to be moments where I just kind of have to create sense where there is none. I feel like that's maybe the bottom of a chest plate. Well, that's not going to work, is it? You got to have a good sense of humor with things. Sometimes things aren't going to go the way you had planned, and you got to laugh it off. If you get too serious about yourself, it's going to slowly but surely take all of the joy out of life. And that's no fun. I tend to be very, very willing to have a good chuckle at my own expense. But there's things I do, like grab the wrong side of the pencil or break at least one pencil per life, that, you know what? If I don't laugh it off, then it's going to mess my day up, and I can't be having that. He is a very, very hairy goat, by the way. I think that's what he's supposed to be. Maybe some kind of elk, I don't know. He's neat looking, whatever he is. I guess he probably is more likely some kind of elk, but the horns make me think goat. Oh, excuse me. I do apologize. I know I skipped yesterday. In my defense, I was running on no sleep. I got a total of maybe 2 to 3 hours throughout the day. I got to bed sometime around between 6:30 and 7 in the morning, and the birds had me up before 8. So, yeah. I managed to grab a short nap about halfway through the day, but that was about it. I don't need a lot of sleep to function, but I need more than that. I'm usually good on about 4 to 6 hours. I can function just fine, but I need at least that. And for those of you wondering why, my partner works away from home for a month at a time, and I like to send him off having done his packing for him so that I know he has all of the things he needs. And because he does usually tend to leave in the middle of the night or very, very early to get where he's going, a lot of times that leaves me getting up very, very early or staying up almost all night, just making sure that everything gets where it needs to be so that he can kind of grab and go. Because he does tend to have to drive long distances to get to where he needs to be. And I do apologize. My voice seems to be not wanting to cooperate today. I did notice that I missed this. We want to keep it nice and aligned. I think we're going to use the red on that as well. But I'm definitely impressed with the new phone. The camera quality seems to be just well above and beyond my old phone, which, I mean, that's going to happen. My old phone was a unplanned swap after my good phone broke. But it is what it is, and I am happy with what I have now. Trying to find a color that I feel like fits where I'm trying to go here. That is not what I was trying to grab. I wanted a good yellow. I don't know why, but I feel like the lines in yellow is going to be just kind of a nice pop. And just a little bit here and there, nothing crazy. I'm not trying to burn anyone's retinas with bright, bright colors, but I do want kind of an interesting effect. There we go. We are going to do other colors yet. I think we'll bring in probably a blue because this is me we're talking about here. Of course, there will be blue. But I kind of like the little pops of yellow here and there. Just, I feel like it kind of just adds that little bit of oomph. We're going to do a blue, though. It needs to be a nice, kind of deep blue, like this. Oh, that's not as deep as I was hoping, but it'll do. I can always go over it with a darker color if I feel like it needs it. Or I can just push a little bit harder. But I'm really not in the mood to do a lot of hard color today. So we're aiming for interesting without being overwhelming. Will we pull that off? I don't know, but that's what we're aiming for. There we go. I think that kind of gives the look I was trying for. And the great thing about buying the coloring book is you can have fun with it and you can make things kind of fit however you feel like they should. I feel like I went very 80s child there, but I'm an 80s child, so we're just gonna go with that. Um, I'll own it. That is a very bluish green. That is not what I was looking for. It's going to be that kind of day. That's okay, though. I have to kind of keep in mind, I'm used to a phone that is very pushed back. This one has a little bit more of a close-up. So if I'm out of screen, just holler at me, and I will fix it. I am going to switch greens, though, because that is not the tone I was looking for. Let's try this. Oh, that's much better. I think we're going to go over top of these, because I didn't want quite so soft. I say, as I had just said, I was going for softer tones today. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. I do apologize. I know I keep forgetting to talk. I'm kind of getting focused in on what I'm working on. Why does that look like a finger? That's a bit odd, isn't it? But tell me I'm nuts. Tell me that doesn't look like a little bit like a finger with a very kind of pointed, almost claw-like nail. Somebody had a rough day. I guess they're supposed to be flowers, because it does match up on either side. Okay, stuff happens. As I said, I am working with a new phone. It is definitely a bit more zoomed in than I'm used to. So if I run off camera, please let me know. I don't always look at the camera. I tend to look around it, because there is actually a depth difference from my phone to the picture. And it gets very hard to aim where I want the color to go. But we're getting there. We are making progress. I guess we should carry this up this way. And I don't know if that's leaf or flower. We're going to call it flower for the sake of breaking up the green just a little bit. Do I have one that matches on this side? Kind of. So we'll call that a flower as well. As I said, I think there's a very strong possibility that this is an AI piece. And that happens. Actually, quite a lot. I know there are some pages in this book that were colored by actual artists or drawn by actual artists, but I do feel like there are some that are not. I can't verify that, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I am willing to accept it. But usually the stuff by actual people is so much better and a lot more coherent. There's not so much noise in odd spots that you can't really discern what those things are supposed to be. See, there I go off the page again. I don't know if this is going to end up being purple or blue, but it'll work either way. It's one of those colors that could be either. I'd originally planned on doing this in red, but it looks so much like a finger that I felt like red would be overkill. So adding a new tone in is not such a bad thing, right? I am going to have to sharpen this pencil before I can do the top two, though, because that is not easy to work with. There we go. Let's see if we can clean this guy up a little bit. Pencil is just getting very, very dull, and it's really hard to get into more specific spots that way. And now we'll do this guy. Oh, excuse me. And we are making this part of that whole thing. Actually making pretty good time on this one. I am not 100% certain if those are supposed to be hair or like these ribbon things. I am going to do the ones directly on his head and right between his horns as hair. And we're going to hope for the best. But like I've said a few times, sometimes you just have to kind of go with what makes the most sense and try and make it fit. Here we go. He just has a lot of hair, that's all. I'm sure he thinks he's fabulous. I have not decided what color to make his horns yet. It's interesting how they almost look wrapped. I've never seen anything have hairy horns before, but okay, we're gonna go with it. And I think, why don't we make him gold? Because we can. Because why not, right? This one's a little out there in the middle of left field somewhere, so it works. I am thrilled that you guys can actually see the color going down now. I was getting very frustrated with some of the lighter colors with my old phone because I could see it, but then I'd look through my phone to see what you guys were seeing, and it looked very, very different. This actually looks very much like what I'm seeing compared to previous pictures. And I think that does make a difference in what you guys see compared to, like, whether or not it looks cohesive to you compared to what I see. I'm trying to find a good example real quick. Like her skin tones, actually. When I colored this day before yesterday, you actually couldn't see that she had a tone there at all. And I struggled to get his blue to show, so we are making progress. Now, I want a nice, like, royal purple. And these others that look more like ribbons than hair, we're going to make some of them like a royal purple. We're going to make some like a bright blue, and then others a red. And we're going to make them just be ribbons around him because I can't have all of that be hair. That makes no sense whatsoever. Maybe he just came back from doing something amazing. I don't know. But if it's all meant to be hair, somebody has a severe shedding problem. Right? And we are just shy of hitting my 30-minute mark. It's just a nice bright blue. Slightly different tone than the one I used on him. Why my brain has decided that that is definitely a him, I don't know. But that's how my brain works. It just kind of decides. Since I'm the one adding color, we can kind of get away with it a little bit. I am a fan of the bright green eye, though. I am weak. I tend to do a lot of bright green eyes. It's just one of those things I enjoy. And it doesn't hurt anything, right? All right. I want a really rich, strong shade of red. Ooh. Ask and you shall receive. Happens occasionally, right? It's always a little hit or miss when it comes to colored pencils. It depends on the brand, whether you get exactly what it shows you or if you get something completely different from what you were expecting. Like, for example, this being a very blue-green. That is not something you would expect. We have hit our 30-minute mark. I don't know how much longer I'll go. As I said before, my birds did give me quite the headache, so we're trying to just kind of push through and keep going. But we don't actually have a crazy lot more to do. It's just mostly details at this point. And a lot of those are going to be, once again, making things into what I feel like they ought to be, because they don't make a lot of sense. But I do like the ribbons instead of more hair coming off of him. I do want a different brown for this. There we go. Not sure if this is supposed to be a full circle. It kind of looks like it, so we're going to go with it. At first glance, I thought it was like an arch, but all right, it is what it is. And yes, I colored 2 more ribbon thingies into it because it's not making a whole lot of sense, and I'm trying to kind of clean it up a little bit visually. We will do probably gold up here just because that looks like it's meant to be decorative. Slowly, slowly, we're getting it to make some sense. I am very happy my OCD is letting me get away with this without giving me too hard of a time today. I have had to stop on this kind of a picture because too many things didn't make sense, because I am documented OCD. It's not a cutesy thing. It really is just who I am. And sometimes I can push through and just make it make sense. Other days it's just a hard no. I cannot deal with this. I'm going to have to find something different to work on. But I think this was being a fantasy thing, and being that he has kind of the frame around him, we can make it work. And that was another ribbon thing that I kind of made go away. Looks like we have a flower there. All right, where'd my gold go? Here we go. I'm gonna stop and grab a drink. Try not to spill it on the picture. Because that's no good. I'm actually pretty happy with the way he's turning out. I'm gonna move that just a little bit. There we go. I think we're just gonna commit to it because they didn't really make it to where you could color the individual parts. We do want that a little bit of a brighter and stronger tone than his ears, or his antlers, horns, whatever those things on his head are. I'm having a day. We're going to go with it. And then we're going to grab my nice green and touch up these leaves up top, and then we're going to call it a day. I did just need to sharpen up a little bit. And yep, and final. Well, that's odd. I don't know if it's, no, it is. Thought it might be. First one of the day. We can work with it. That is a much closer close-up of my hands than I really wanted to do. But it is what it is. That's better. It's interesting how it kind of ground up the one side, but oh well. We don't need perfect. We just need green. Really? Well, I did say that other side looked odd, so I am switching pencil sharpeners for just a moment. This one's a little bit more precise, much less attractive to use, but you get what you get. Are you going to be solid for me now? Let me do more than 3 strokes before you break. There we go. I don't need it to be dark. Just a hint of color is fine. Now, some stuff is going to get left on this one, and that's just because it's already a very busy picture. I don't need to make it more so, but that isn't something I normally do. But I can't make everything make sense, so some stuff's just going to get left white so that it kind of blends into the background. And I am going to actually go ahead and stop here. Now, I won't be on tomorrow. I will be back on Monday unless something major happens that stops me from being able to do it. But hopefully everybody has a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you next time.